Like, I was the only one not there. I was like, oh, this is so good. I love life so much. And don't get me wrong, I was having a good time at college and like making new friends and doing all these things, but it's also like, dang, like, why are y'all having fun without me? That's kind of rude. Now I know that you just gotta bear the cold, sister. If you want to look cute, you gotta bear the cold. A hoe never gets cold, as Miss Cardi B said. But I'm not a hoe. I'm a godly woman, thank you. Definitely had my fair share of, crying on the couch and calling my parents or my friends crying because I hate my life or something and I wish I never moved here, or something. I hope my boss isn't watching this and being like, I love my life, I love my job, and I love what I'm doing right now. Please don't fire me. Hi everyone, you're listening to Transplants, the podcast for 20-somethings moving to a new city and trying to navigate all the trials and tribulations that come with it. I'm your host Joyce, and today we're going to be talking about feeling disconnected from home, because that is something that you're undoubtedly going to experience anytime you move away from home, but that feeling is definitely to like the nth degree when you first move away from home, especially if it's your first time being away from home and you're trying to navigate how your relationships grow and evolve when you're not in a place that you're used to and you're away from basically all that you've ever known. You're away from your friends, your family, all your loved ones, and trying to figure things out and figure out how your life has changed from what it once was. But yeah, that's something that I feel like I've been feeling a lot recently. Not a lot, but it's been exaggerated a little bit more. The last time I was home was during like Christmas and New Year's, which was a lot of fun. And luckily I was able to spend about 3 weeks at home and see family and friends and do all that fun stuff. But the next time I will be home is in May, which is only a few months from now. But I want to go home. I want to see my family. I miss me brothers. But yeah, I want to go home. I want to be in the warm weather. It's cold. It's not that cold in Ohio right now. It did snow the other day, but by now the snow is like mostly melted, to be honest. It's like that gross period. But anywho, feeling disconnected from home is super hard when you first move. And also just wanted to touch on with like everything that's going on in the world right now from just like a social, political, I guess, stance. I feel like people who are affected by the crises happening overseas, not in like the Western world, but on the Eastern hemisphere, I feel like those who have family who are going through those things also might feel a disconnection from home, because seeing your people go through unspeakable, unimaginable things that no human being should ever have to go through, insane. But seeing your people and like your loved ones go through something like that is super disheartening, super draining and heart-wrenching. And if you are affected by anything that's happening in Gaza and Congo, in Ukraine, any place that I may have missed, I feel you and my heart goes out to you. I'm Congolese, so the things that are going on in Congo have been going on for years. Like it's not any new news to me. But if you're experiencing anything or your family is experiencing anything, my heart goes out to you, and I will try to list like resources in the description / show notes of this episode. If you're looking for anything like that, mental health resources, girl, because there's a lot going on. It's still very much winter in a lot of places. The seasonal depression is still alive and well for some people, unfortunately, but we will get through it and we shall prevail. And my phone keeps vibrating and it's really annoying. I feel like I should turn it off, but I don't know how to turn off an iPhone, because who turns off their phone like willingly? It just dies and it's off. I don't know how to actually turn off my phone. Let me see if I can put it on my chair. Okay, any Hoosers. Now my phone is away, but let's get into the nitty gritty of today's convo, right? Feeling disconnected from home. I feel like the isolation that you may feel like when you first move, it is too real. I think once the newness of like the new place that you're at wears off, like after all, like you've done exploring and stuff and you're starting to get more familiar with your place, you're like, oh, wait a second, like what am I doing here? You know, like the post move blues start to kick in and you're just like, wow, what is life? I definitely experienced that. I think after I moved, I still can't believe that I moved in the winter and I was going out to the bars in the clubs in the winter. I was girl, this is how you know I grew up in the South and I'm not built for the cold. But I was wearing like leggings under like my pants, jeans, and whatever when I was going to like the bar, the club, or whatever when I first moved. Because I was like, I don't know how you dress for going out when you live somewhere that's cold. So I was like putting on my leggings under my bottoms, and that very not very, but that restricted my dance movements a lot because I was, layered up because I'm not built for this weather. But looking back at it, it's just funny. Now I know that you just gotta bear the cold, sister. If you want to look cute, you gotta bear the cold. A hoe never gets cold, as Miss Cardi B said. But I'm not a hoe. I am a godly woman. Thank you. But any Hoosers, once all that newness like wears off and you're like sitting in your apartment and you're just like, wow, I really moved halfway across the country by myself and I'm doing, whatever it is I'm doing. It's like, it can be a lot to take in, especially when you don't know anyone when you first move. There's just so many feelings like the isolation, and you're also trying to balance, being grateful for where you are and also trying to remain connected to like your home and like your loved ones that you quote unquote left behind. Because especially if you move like right after post grad like I did and it's like your first job out of college, it's like you definitely want to be grateful for where you are. Like I have a good job, I'm able to sustain myself and do the things that I want to, like travel and blah blah blah. But at the same time, you have to learn how to like balance like the good and the bad, the happy and the sad, because that guilt can start to creep in, and I'll touch on that in a second. When you're experiencing all that new, it's a lot of fun and you definitely want to get as many experiences and good times under your belt, but it's also important to remember where you came from and keep those connections close. I'm someone who like keeps family, whatever, like relationships are super important to me. Like that's a core value of mine. So friends, family, whatever, I hold very near and dear to my heart. So that's something that I prioritize in my life. And I feel like that goes for a lot of people because we all need community. We all need people close to us holding us up or whatever. So that is something that I definitely had to learn how to prioritize when I moved. And you start to navigate that a little bit when you're in college, if you move away for undergrad or for whatever and you're like not close to home. But then for college you can go back for winter break and like Thanksgiving break and blah blah blah. So it's easier to maintain those ties when you have like designated time periods where you're able to like go back home, reconnect with family, be with them physically. But when you work, girl, spring break does not exist anymore. Summer break does not exist anymore. And it's really annoying. And I feel like somebody needs to fix that, rewrite the policy or something, because I'm tired. Thank you. I'm tired. And yeah, the PTO is great, but if we could just get a spring break or like some type of something, I feel like that'd be revolutionary. Or I heard that the four-day work week, some companies are trying that. I don't know if that's still a thing, but I feel like that should be a nationwide thing. Mr. Joe Barry or whoever's going to be, whoever's going to be in office next, if it's him again or, ooh, yeah, I don't even want to think about that. But anyways, somebody do some thinking. Someone circle back with me. Thank you. And now my phone is ringing. Leave me alone. Anywho, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, luckily, I've mentioned this before, but when I moved, I guess, I became friends with people who were going through the same thing just because of work and like program that we were all in, which is great to be going through something with someone and you both have like that mutual experience, that mutual connection. And you're able to like build a friendship off of that. I think that's so important. But then like when you start to, those friendships are still so new. So it's still a little bit hard to like, get deep with someone and feel like someone really knows you. And then when you think about the people back home who do really know you, you can start to feel FOMO when you see them like hanging out and like doing stuff without you. Like I remember I first started to feel that in college when I moved away from home for undergrad and like seeing my friends hang out on Snapchat and like post on their stories and stuff without me. Like I was the only one not there. I was like, oh, this is so good. I love life so much. And don't get me wrong, I was having a good time at college and like making new friends and doing all these things, but it's also like, dang, like why are y'all having fun without me? That's kind of rude. But you know what? You very quickly have to learn that life goes on and life moves on whether you're there or not, which is a humbling thing to learn. But at the end of the day, other people's worlds don't revolve around you. It revolves around them. So unfortunately, people will not be sad and freeze in time when you're not there. I wish that was the case, but it's really not. But girl, I feel you. The FOMO is so real. And like your friends could argue like, oh, your new life in your new city like looks so fun. You're doing all these things and blah, blah, blah. Which is definitely true. And I've even had those conversations with like my own friends and like even like family members that are my same age, like my cousins who are the same age. And it's like very true. I've been having a lot of fun in this interesting like post-grad life. But at the same time, girl, learning how to navigate life post-grad has been difficult. It's not been like the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but it's like, it's hard. It is hard to adjust to like working full-time, not having like a designated like routine, because in school, you're told where to go, you're told where to be at these times, you have all these things, whatever, you can plan out your days, if you have class certain days or club activity certain days, whatever, versus when you're working a 9 to 5, you just have the 9 to 5 days a week, and then you have 2 days to rest. But then it's like, I also want to have fun and I also want to live my life and I also want to travel and do all these things. So it's like learning how to navigate that, learning how to pay bills, bills aren't that crazy, but hey, money is no joke. Oh, hey, my goodness. But yeah. And I graduated a little bit early. I was 21. I graduated a semester early. So I feel like, at least I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or anything. I congratulate myself. I celebrate myself. I had a good time. But like, since I graduated early, I was definitely getting like a lot of questions from like my friends who were still in school and like family members and blah, 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 like just about adult life and like navigating all those things. And like, I definitely come across as someone who has their life together and, is doing all the things. Yeah. And I definitely like to carry myself in that way. And I wouldn't say that I don't have my life together, but at the same time, girl, I'm just like every other human trying to figure it out. Like I don't have all the answers. You don't have all the answers. No one has all the answers. We're all just trying to figure it out one day at a time, because we're all living life for the first time in this lifetime. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely been a lot. I've learned a lot, but I know there's still a lot to learn. And I don't know, it's fun. It's definitely fun, girl. It's definitely a good time being an adult and having adult money and being able to spend it on stupid things. But then when I fill out my budget every single week, I'm like, oh, this is very humbling and I shouldn't be doing that. But you know what? We live and we learn. We live and we learn. But yeah, all is that to say is it's not, I definitely am guilty of the social dilemma. Ooh, the social dilemma. I definitely post like my highlight reels on Instagram, social media, whatever, because sorry, I hold my hands up. We all do it, right? But yeah, I've definitely had my fair share of, crying on the couch and calling my parents or my friends crying, because I hate my life or something and I wish I never moved here or something. I hope my boss isn't watching this and being like, I love my life, I love my job, and I love what I'm doing right now. Please don't fire me. It's an interesting balance for sure, because one, that FOMO piece, it'll get you. I'm definitely susceptible to experiencing FOMO because I want to do all the things. I want to be a part of everything. And that's something that I'm trying to not unlearn, just like remind myself that I don't have to be at every single event or whatever. But then on top of like navigating FOMO from like your friends or whatever at home, this is also a period when you like start to lose friends just like organically. That's just the way of life. You start to outgrow people or you just start to lose contact, which can definitely contribute to feeling disconnected from home because all your ties are like dropping like flies. Ooh, that's a bar. My pen. I don't play with my pen. I mean what I write. Yeah. Whoa. Baby, I need to know. Any Hoosers. But if you feel like all of your social ties and connections to like your hometown are starting to like being cut at the wires, then girl, ooh, powerful. That is such a tough English. That is definitely a tough thing to deal with, and we all experience it in our 20s through, I guess, just throughout our life as, we grow and change as people and our relationships grow and change with us. And that's definitely something that I honestly still struggle with. So if you have any thoughts, solutions, whatever, please comment, share with the people. Because like I said, I hold my friendships near and dear to my heart, whether I've known you for 2 days, 2 weeks, or 2 years. Once we're locked in, girl. But yeah, when you feel like you start to lose friends, it's so hard because I'm also such a nostalgic person. Like I love looking through like my photo albums of I was literally doing this the other day and seeing pictures from like high school and like middle school. That was a time. But looking back on the good memories, like those core memories, it's just like, oh, what a time to be alive. That was so fun. But then when I think of those times and in comparison to my life now, I'm like, wow, I'm glad I had those experiences and I was friends with those people and I was friends with them during that time period of my life. And a lot of those people are not in my life anymore, which is not, it's sad, but at the same time, there's also relationships that ended because they needed to. And I'm glad they did because who knows what my life would have turned out if these people were still in my life. Like some people I'm just like, never want to see you again. Don't talk to me. Thank you. So it's like crazy to think about what your life would be like if you were still friends with like people from high school, middle school. I know there's people out there who are, but like me, nar babes. Like I'm grateful for the times that we shared, but I don't need you in my life right now. And I'm grateful to you for all the memes that we had, all the things that we did, but that there was a time and a place, and now we're in a different time and place, and that's a good thing. That's great. I think that means we grow and evolve, And isn't that life? The circle of life. And it moves us so. Okay, speaking of the circle of life, within your circle of life, you have your friends, but you also have your family, right? And I'm going to be talking to my, once again, I'm going to be talking to my eldest daughters in an immigrant household. Hey girl, hey girl. But yeah, ooh, yeah, I need to make a whole episode about that and bring like some friends on because ooh child. But being the eldest daughter and like moving away from home is an experience because now I'm just like reminiscing. But when you first, especially if you have like younger siblings and like obviously you grew up like having to help take care of them and blah, blah, blah. And then when you leave home for the first time, that hits everybody so hard. That hits you hard. That hits your parents hard and the siblings hard because you've been like this unit for so long and you've had to help like take care of the household for so long. And then when you leave, it's like, there's like a sense of guilt because you're leaving behind now I'm thinking about my brothers, but you're leaving. Am I about to start crying? No, I'm not. But like you leave behind your younger siblings and like you don't want to leave them behind. You want to take them with you because it's just hard on everyone. And it's hard to like be without them and feel like you're like abandoning like basically everyone in your family. But at the end of the day, it's good for everyone. It's good for everyone to spend, time away from each other. It's good for the children, especially when they move out of the house to, find themselves outside of what they know and discover themselves, be able to branch out, explore, whatever, and then come back and, everyone has a good old time. We're all fine and dandy, at least for the most part. But yeah, if you grew up in an immigrant household, time away from home is it's just so good for your mental health because when you come back, it's not as, I guess, I don't want to say hostile, but I mean, if you know, if you know, and if you don't know, if you're a child of immigrants and you're still at home and you're trying to get out, oh, that sounds like so bad. And I hope my parents are not offended. Mom and dad, I love you. But there's just the children of immigrants, no. And if you're still stuck at home, I see you. I'm praying for you. And I hope that you're able to find the space for yourself and, do things for yourself in the near future. But yeah, moving away from home, it's very tough, especially when you are like an immigrant family. You experience hardships that not a lot of other families go through. I'm not trying to like demean anyone's story, anyone's life or anything like that. Everyone has their own struggles and I acknowledge that. But when you're an immigrant family, there's like another level, you know what I mean? And it's hard when things happen and you want to be there for your family, but you can't be there like physically. You have to like try to figure out ways that you can help from afar. If you can't like purchase a flight immediately to go see family or whatever, send money, give someone a phone call, do the best you can. It is so hard. Like for example, y'all, September of last year was a time for me. I was traveling a lot. Okay, first of all, context. Last year, I feel like every time I got on a plane, I feel like I was like cursed. Ugh. I'm trying to find something to knock on wood, because I feel like I was cursed last year. Every time I got on a plane, like my luggage did not arrive with me to my final destination, or like my flight was delayed for like so long, or like there was just always something every time I had to get on a plane last year. And luckily, nothing crazy has happened this year. I've only been on a flight like once to come back to Columbus after visiting home for the holidays. So we'll see what happens in 2024, but I was just going through it last year. But yeah, context for that. And then in September, I did a lot of traveling within the span of like 2-ish weeks, 2 or 3 weeks. I was in like Seattle, Portland for a few days. I went to a Janelle Monáe concert with my friend. Oh my gosh. And I danced on stage with Janelle Monáe. Ooh, girl, it was so much fun. And I had the time of my life. Yes, you heard that correctly. I did dance on stage with Janelle Monáe. And it was a core memory and iconic. It was truly iconic. But yeah, that was fun. Did all that fun stuff and then immediately took a flight to New York, where I stayed for a week with my cousin Caroline. Hey, Miss Girl, if you're watching. And that was a fun time. But during all of that, my grandmother on my dad's side fell ill unexpectedly. So that was yeah, it was a hard time. And then she unfortunately ultimately ended up passing away while I was in New York. And that was just, it was such a strange period of time. Like when she had been sick for like a few weeks or so, I believe. And it was just, I mean, there was nothing I could do really. And then she passed away, and that was super hard because I was like, you know, in New York, living it up, trying to have a good time while my grandmother just passed away. And then on top of that, even I was trying to leave New York to get back to Columbus and then immediately go to Texas. And trying to leave New York, there was like some thunderstorm or something, and my flight was delayed or canceled like 5 times. I kid you not, at least like 5 times. And I didn't leave New York until 2 days later than I was supposed to. And it was just a whole thing. And then literally I get back to Columbus, and then like a few days later I have to fly to Texas, you know, for the memorial service and all that stuff. So it was just like a whirlwind of stuff happening. And I was also stressed at work, and there was just a lot going on. And it was crazy because I was, you know, trying to live my life, have a fun time, travel, do all the things while this thing was going on. So yeah, and it was also a lot because I was the first parent my father lost. So it was, it was a lot to take in. And luckily I was able to, you know, fly home for like the memorial service and be there at least for the weekend. But, you know, that cost a pretty penny, and, you know, 8 and 2, it was credit card, you know, whatever. But, you know, luckily I was able to be there physically, but not everyone is able to, you know, hop on a flight to, you know, be with their family or whatever. And I feel for you if you're not able to do that. The recording just did something funky, but I feel for you if you're not able to be with family during hard times like that. I couldn't have imagined like not being able to like bury a loved one because I'm far away, or like because I can't afford to. And I know that's the reality for a lot of people. So I send, you know, as much love as I can. And I hope if you're going through something like that right now, that you're able to, you know, be with your family. And if not, you know, make the most out of your situation and, you know, connect with them however you can, whether that's via phone, FaceTime, WhatsApp, or whatever you got to do. But going through something like that and like feeling, that's like a different type of like, you know what I mean? I'm making like a gesture with my hands for the people who are listening, but that feeling disconnected from home when something like that has happened is like a whole nother thing. Because again, you're trying to balance like enjoying your life, but then when life throws, you know, a wrench in the mix, you have to learn how to deal with that. And then once it's happened, learn how to like pick up the pieces and move on, because unfortunately life keeps going whether you want it to or not. And I hate it, but we all have to deal with it, unfortunately. But yeah, that got a little deep and a little vulnerable, but I'm gonna stay here for a minute and keep talking to my my children of immigrants. Yeah, I feel like immigrant children also feel a different type of disconnect from home, because like you're either not an American enough, or you're not enough of whatever culture you are, you know what I mean? Because especially if you were born in America like me, you're very much, you assimilated, because your parents had to assimilate to survive here, and then you're just like a byproduct of that, which is unfortunate for a lot of people. And speaking from experience, it's been very interesting to navigate. I feel like an embarrassment every time I'm near my family, because I'm still improving my French, je ne sais quoi, I'm still working on it, and I definitely want to become fluent by the end of the year. Hopefully all the family members watching this hold me accountable, which I don't know if I do want that. Please hold me accountable. But it's I feel like a disgrace to the family, because I'm not fluent in French. I don't cook a lot of Congolese foods. I know how to cook a few, but I definitely need to have more in my repertoire. And I feel like I'm not also black enough too, because I didn't grow up listening to R&B, hip hop. I learned a lot of that from my sister, but then in my household it was Congolese music, so it's interesting balance. Yeah, but then I'm also to Americans, I'm not American enough, because my last name is foreign, I have immigrant parents, I'm a black woman, all the things. So yeah, if you're an immigrant child, the struggle. I'm preaching to the choir here. But there's a different disconnect from home too, because it's when I'm here, I'm oh, I really want some plantains, and plantains is not hard to cook, you just fry it or whatever, and I can do that. But it's when I do it, it's not the same as when my mom cooks it, you know what I mean? I just want my mom to cook some makimba and some beef, and I just need my mother's cooking. And yes, I can cook it, and yes, it can taste the same, but like I said, I don't know a lot of Congolese recipes, so yes, shame on me. But when I want that food, it's I can't have it because I don't know how to cook it. So it's girl, it's hard. But you know what? I'm trying my best now that I've been away from home for so long, and I miss all these things, and my mom cooking, and just being around my family and all that stuff. Congolese music stays on repeat. I listen to that in the gym. It's very good gym music, y'all. But I'm trying to, not have my Congolese card revoked. Okay. But yeah, if you're an immigrant child, you know the struggle. With all that being said, and me trying to, learn how to cook Congolese foods and do all these things, I think that just comes down to your intention, and you have to be intentional when you start to feel these things, and you're feeling disconnected from home, and you feel you're missing something, missing a part of you. You have to be intentional in remedying that, and go about that in I don't know the word that I'm looking for, but you have to be intentional. So make phone calls to friends and family consistently, or even schedule them if you have to, because I know life gets busy. Very quickly learned as a new adult that sometimes you have to put things in your calendar, or else people are gonna forget. And at first I thought that was such a shame. Why do I have to put these things in my calendar? Can't you just love me and remember me and think of me? But then I quickly learned that people forgetting, it's not always a reflection of their love for you and how much they care about you. Sometimes life happens, people get busy, things are thrown into the works at last minute, and it's just, you just gotta roll with the punches, babe. So if you have to put a phone call with mom and dad in your calendar, then do that. Make the time for people that you care about. And when you're with the people that you care about, be vulnerable. That's me preaching to myself a little bit, but if you're missing somebody, tell them. If you love somebody, tell them, because I feel like we could all use a good reminder that, we're loved and people are looking out for us, people care for us, because we're all human. We all want to know that people love us. So don't be afraid of being vulnerable and asking for what you need from friends, family, loved ones, whatever, especially when you move. That's such a tumultuous time, a lot of adjusting to do. Oh, excuse me. A lot of disgusting. A lot of adjusting to do. So don't be afraid to ask for what you need during that time, because there's a lot of change happening and you need as much stability as you can get, girl. But yeah, if you're in a space where you're the, minority, or you're just looking for more people like you, utilize your resources, babe. The internet is a powerful place. Join Facebook groups. For my immigrant children, there's WhatsApp groups for Congolese of DC, or Congolese of whatever city you're in. At least I've been told there's different groups for different people. So join Facebook, find your people on Facebook, find your people on WhatsApp, find your people on TikTok. The world is your oyster. And I feel like if you're intentional and if you're have good intentions at the end of the day, good intentions in your heart, that will attract like-minded people, and you'll start to find your people. And lastly, outside of the people that you keep in your circle, also keep things in your space feeling like home. So keep up pictures of your family and stuff. There's literally a picture of me and my brothers on this wall behind me that I love so much, with just 3 little babies. It's when we were children. And I love that picture so much. Keep little trinkets from your childhood, do whatever to make your space feel as homey as possible, and keep reminders of home around you, because that's going to help you, navigate all that homesickness and all that gross, disgusting feelings that we feel. Not gross, disgusting. All feelings are valid, but the stuff that makes us cry on Friday night when we just want to be at home wrapped in the blanket that we used to sleep with as a child. Who said that? Anyways, that is gonna be all for today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please English. Please be sure to follow Transplants on all streaming platforms. And rate us 5 stars, because that helps out with the algorithm, as the people say. Please be sure to follow Transplants on Instagram and TikTok. We cannot speak today. On Instagram and TikTok at Transplants Podcast. If you ever have any topics that you would like to hear on the podcast, please look in the episode description. You'll find a form where you can submit topic requests, and there will also be another form that you can submit to get advice on the show. So if you're navigating a crazy situation at work, you're trying to figure out where to move to next, you're dealing with this boy or this girl or this person or something, anything that you want advice on, I am here for you. I'll do the best I can. But take my advice with a grain of salt, girl. I'm still trying to figure it out too. But you can find both of those forms in the description below. And yeah, I hope this episode helped. Please be sure to share with a friend if it did. And remember, you're not as alone as you think.